In today's Warzone video, I give you guys my best settings to help you dominate the game. These are the settings that have allowed me to achieve over 1,000 wins on Rebirth Island and like a 4 KD. If you want to enjoy today's video, give it a like, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. All right, so let's hop in this here and give you guys my settings for Warzone. This will apply for Season 4, and of course, every time after that. It doesn't really matter. These probably will not change too much. So let's hop into it here. First thing on here is going to be, obviously keyboard and mouse. I don't play on keyboard and mouse, so I'm not going to give you guys any settings for that because I don't know what I'm doing on that. I play controller on PC, so let's hop into the rest of these settings. So first thing here that you guys should probably be able to see is I play on full screen borderless. I have a single PC setup, not dual PC setup by like a lot of top tier streamers. I've not necessarily invested that kind of money, so I play on just single PC setup. I have a 27-inch monitor, an Omen 27 IPS monitor. I have an RTX 2080 Ti graphics card with a 165 Hz refresh rate on this monitor, and I play at 1440p, which is definitely really nice considering I played at 1080p before under 1920 by 1080. Now I play at 2560 by 1440, and that allows me to see a lot more things that I thought were maybe a little bit more blurry beforehand. But we can just go down here. I don't have too much of this stuff, checked. I play at 61.23 brightness. There's no real reason for it to be at 61.23. It's not like that's the magic number. Just 60, 61 doesn't really matter. That's just kind of where mine is right now, and it works out pretty nicely. And then I don't have any of this NVIDIA low reflex stuff on here. And then the quality, you guys can be able to just scroll through here and be able to see some of this stuff. These are not like the most optimal top tier settings. This is just what I use for my computer, and obviously yours is going to change, but this is what I play on. I play on SMAA1X. And then of course I also have world of motion blur off, disabled, and weapon motion blur is disabled. Definitely should have both those things off. Doesn't matter if you're on console, PC, you should always have that off. And then going on down here, of course, I just have some of this other shenanigans in here. Let's move over to some of the interface related things, and of course just everything like that. So moving over, I have a color blind that is disabled. I don't believe there's a better setting on here that makes it that you should use. Moving down here after that, as far as like the HUD bounce and everything, I haven't really changed that. Some of you guys should definitely note here is that the minimap shape should be a square instead of a circle. There's no reason you guys should have a circle minimap. If you do, that just kind of shows you are a bot, because you get like a literal bigger view of the minimap when you have a square minimap. So always do that. So just do that. Have your minimap rotation, of course, on your compass. You can have that stuff. It doesn't really matter. None of this stuff really down here matters all that much, to be honest with you guys. It's just kind of like personal preference, what you want on, you want off. It's not really gonna do much of a difference. Moving over here to the audio, which is gonna be what you guys probably are wanting to take a look at. So I have a boost high, and what that allows me to do is just, there's a couple of different, settings in here. And I've heard actually on, for what is it, Fortune Ski, playing on midnight mode allows you to kind of forego some of the crazy loud sound effects and just focus in on footsteps. I haven't tried that out yet, so I can't recommend that, but I've been playing on boost high for a while. And now I have my Astro A40s with my mix amp configured. Boost high works out really nicely, and I can hear a lot of great footsteps. I know some people want to know the Astro settings, but I'm not gonna be able to tell you guys that just because my mix amp may be newer, blah blah blah, older. I also have it plugged into an audio unit, so my settings aren't going to be the exact same as yours. My master volume is also, case in point, at 30% as opposed to 100 just blow my eardrums out. Like, it is plenty loud as is. I don't need any louder. My music volume's at 0. You don't want to have that music volume on. That's just gonna like mess you up. Don't do that. Like, that starts coming on at the end game and everything like that, and we don't want that. So after that, going down here a little bit, my hit marker sound effect is just on classic. This is kind of one of those cool little things that you can do. You can change it to no hit marker sounds, classic, or MW. It's just up to you guys, your little personal preference. But for me, I like the classic, and this is what I've been rolling with here for a while. And then going on down here, you can see my speakers, headphones, game sound audio device is my TC Helicon Go XLR. I have that. That's what allows me to talk in on my microphone. It powers everything. It controls all the audio for my computer. So I do have everything routed through that. So that's why I said my, Astro mix amp settings are going to be different than, somebody like you that's watched the video that does not have this or my exact setup. So it's hard for me to recommend audio settings like that. But I'm sure that's all stuff that can be just easily figured out. But just going down here, I don't have too much going on down here. There's nothing else that you guys really need to be able to see. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty stuff, the real interesting shenanigans that a lot of people want to be able to see here for a controller player on PC or just, controller stuff. So my BR button layout is on tactical flipped, and you guys can be able to see you can flip it with square. So I play on tactical flip. That's on a PlayStation controller here. Just a regular Sony DualShock controller. I have the PlayStation 4 back paddle attachment. I can show you guys this right here, right now. I literally have the controller. It's the literal Sony back paddle attachment on a regular DualShock that's just plugged into my PC because that's how I connect it, and that's all I play on. I believe it's hugely beneficial to play on tactical flip instead of just regular tactical, because those bottom triggers, they have that press in time as opposed to the top where it's just literally an actual button as opposed to a trigger. So you're going to be able to put down, you know, your finger on the trigger faster than somebody that's using those bottom ones. So you will probably get out of an extra gunfight or two just pending on using the top ones as opposed to the bottom. So that's just kind of like a little bit of food for thought. But if you're more used to it, I mean, just use what works for you. Stick layout is just, of course, default. My invert look is disabled. My minimum dead zones, this just kind of comes down to if you have stick drift or not. Your controller is going to have some stick drift. Like, it will more or less have that at a certain point in time, like where you set your controller down and your guy slowly starts moving or looking some way, you're going to have a little bit of stick drift. So just kind of adjust that. But generally speaking, rule of thumb is that you don't want to probably go above more like a 0.10. After that point, you're going to start messing with your overall sensitivity too much, and that's probably where you want to get a new controller. Now moving on to something that's a little bit more interesting here, my horizontal and my vertical stick sensitivity. So I know a lot of you guys out there want to be able to see this. So I play on a very, very casual 6.6 vertical and horizontal, and of course I have a left stick input as like 1.0. That's a 1.0, and then my ADS sensitivity multiplier is indeed a 1.0. So I don't have nothing crazy in here. A 6.6 allows me to turn around fast enough, but it also allows me to stay on target. I used to play at around an 8.8, and I found that when I was just doing minor adjustments, that even though I had my sensitivity multiplier down to about a 0.8, I still was kind of missing too many shots. I was being a little bit too inaccurate. So I went and looked up some settings. I realized that a popular player, Biffle, played on a 6.6, and I was like, you know, let me give that a shot. And I ended up figuring out that I was way more accurate in my movement, and everything was just a lot better playing on a bit of a lower sensitivity. And also, case in point with this, that these pro players that play, you know, Call of Duty professionally also play probably on below a 6. They play on like maybe a 5.5 or a 4.4. So, I mean, you just have to be able to understand that a higher sensitivity does not mean it's going to be better. I also don't have any of this custom sensitivity presume stuff on. I don't believe that's like any bit, you know, necessary. Like, I just don't ever mess with that. As far as, you know, my aim response curve type, I play on dynamic. I believe dynamic for this reverse S curve mapping for fine aim rate control has been really nice. I saw people at some point try to play on, what is it, linear. I tried that for a while. I also played on standard, but I do believe dynamic is indeed the best thing you guys can be using here for your controller. So I'd recommend to play on dynamic. Controller vibration, that's, you can have it on, off, it doesn't matter. I've had it on like the entire time I've ever played games, so it's just kind of natural for me to have it there. So it doesn't really do anything for you or against you. I mean, it shouldn't. As far as my aim assist, I play on regular standard aim assist. Don't ever mess with any of this to play on like precision or focusing. I don't believe that's good, like, to mess with that. And especially don't disable your aim assist. I've had people try to tell me that, oh, my friends say that, you know, playing on aim assist is just cheating. It's like, it's not cheating. It's in the game. It's meant to be there for a reason. Every single best player in the world plays with aim assist on. Play with standard aim assist and just don't think too much about it. As far as my FOV stuff goes, scale aim assist with FOV, I have that on disabled. I don't really have that on just because I know it can kind of mess with your aim assist a little bit too much, and I feel that that's just not really a good thing to have. My weapon mount is just ADS plus melee. That's enabled. My aim on sight behavior, of course, is hold. Steady aim is hold. All this regular stuff down here. Also, you should utilize contextual tap for your use/reload behavior. This is hugely beneficial when you drop in a Warzone, being able to just tap button, like tap square if you're on PlayStation to pick up a weapon or something off the ground as opposed to holding. You won't believe the amount of times you will die just because you can't pick something up fast enough because you have to hold down. So don't, you know, put yourself at a disadvantage. I have had to get one of my buddies to switch over to contextual tap, and like, seriously, you just need to play in contextual tap. Like, it is very, very much so beneficial and the only way to play Warzone properly. After that, armor plate behavior, you should probably have this on apply to all. I do believe this is on console. I'm not exactly sure if it is, but if it's not, you know, I guess it is what it is. But pretty much when I hold triangle, I will actually plate up until like I'm fully plated without holding triangle. So I guess that's kind of cool in that way, but I really still kind of hold triangle anyways to be able to do all my plates. So I guess it really doesn't matter too much. Also down here, as far as slide behavior goes, I do happen to have on tap instead of hold. This is what allows you to do your slide canceling. So you guys should 100%, if you want to be able to slide cancel properly, you have to have on tap. My auto move forward, that's disabled. Tactical sprint, I have it on double tap, but I also have on automatic tactical sprint. And then what this does is really saves your thumbsticks, because like you'll start getting that stick drift just from like mashing the button so much and mashing the joystick in. So I've done this, and while I still kind of tap in on my joystick, it definitely does save you quite a bit when you're just able to push forward and you automatically start sprinting. So that's definitely a good thing. The only way it can kind of cumbersome like or hinder you is just if you have a shotgun potentially, and maybe automatic tac sprint's not the greatest for that, but otherwise it works like for everything else in the game. As far as this go, my parachute's also an auto deploy. I can't tell you the amount of times I've broken my ankies on the ground by not having my parachute out, so I just have an auto deploy and it works out fine for me. So I believe that's really about it. As far as, you know, crossplay, that's enabled. I don't have any of this other stuff on streamer mode. If you guys ever find me in game, like, it's me. But I mean, that's pretty much about it. I don't got nothing else on here to be able to show you guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe with notifications turned on. I'll see you guys all later. Just don't cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.